All we said that the dollar is beginning to give us some sort of a buy signal, so we're going to see which one, which pair should we be looking at versus the US dollar. If I look at this chart, my pairs would be, my choices would be, I'd be looking at buying the dollar and selling the pound, and not really much. I might look at something with the Aussie, and maybe, I mean, these are, I have to be careful with these, but I'm going to also find opportunity when it comes to the Swiss and the yen. So let's first take the pound dollar, because this is where the opportunity lies. And from last week, we are supposed to be short at 162. It is now trading at 161.90, but we had several opportunities to make a lot of money on the pound dollar. So let's see what the pound is today. Now, that was the trade I want you to see now. I'm going back here. This was the structure long point from last week. And once it has failed, it becomes now our selling point. It reverses the role. So we should have been taking, or most of you should have been taking the short as of the 162.97, and it took you all the way down to the 169. So you had about a couple of hundred pips move on that trade. So right now, let's see what we're going to do with this baby. I closed the week at 161.90. If you look at the weekly chart, that tells you the real picture of what's happening in the pound. You had a very big reversal week. You see it opened over here, it flew up all the way above the structure point of 163, and then it turned around and fizzled completely all the way down. It didn't even close above last week's close, which is the 162. It couldn't even get and close above the 162. This is how weak the pound is. So if I have a 2 weeks low of 162, and I just said that the first sign of strength of it to trade above the 2 weeks low of 162, so our buying point is now easy. I want it, unless it goes above the 162, I'm not going to touch it on the long side, which is actually 162.10, if you will, 162.07. All right, so this makes our life easy, and until then I'm going to be short. So let's put the 162.10 over here on the intraday chart. So this is a little bit of noise, so I'm going to put 162.10 right there. So unless it gets above the 162.10, I'm not looking to buy it. I'm still looking to be short. And if I buy it at 162.10, then the technical point to place is below the 160.170, which is the market side. So my stop is going to be right there, around 160.160. On the short side, if this is my stop, I can start shorting it below 160.140, because as you can see, the bias is to the downside. And if you look at the chart, I mean, in essence, the bias is to the downside. So I want to be shorting it below the 161.40. And if I do, I'm going to place the stop above the market side, which is the 161.70. So let's put this in the radar screen so we don't forget these numbers. So I'm going to buy this above 162.10, and if I do, my stop is below 161 right there, which is 161.50. I'm going to go short below 161.40. Alright, and if I go short below 161.40, I'm going to place my stop above the market side, which is the 161.70, and my structure point is the 162.97. That's my structure long, remains the same, and my structure short to the downside, which is the 159.80, has remained the same as of last week. Nothing has changed. The structure points have not changed. Okay, so this is the pound dollar. I would be looking to buy the pound dollar again. Here is the numbers. Buy above 161.40. Your structure long is, I'm sorry, nope. Buy above 162.10. My structure long is 162.97. So you have a good 100 pips to move to the upside, and your stop is 61.50. You risk about 50-60 pips on that trade. On the short side, you're going to go short below 161.40. Your stop is 161.70, and your structure short is the 159.80, which is the one that has been stand. Okay, that is the pound dollar. Anybody